welcome to J&B Reviews. Today we are reviewing From Hilde with Love, which we
From
saw at
Hilde.
the Palm Springs Film Festival.
Yep.
And this movie is
Really good.
really good, really difficult to get through, really difficult to watch,
For me, it
but
wasn't as difficult, but yeah,
really good.
it was really good.
It's definitely like a story and like perspective that I've never seen before.
Yeah.
Where it's this German girl who has her like fiance. I don't know. Did they get married? I don't know. Her fiance and her friends are trying to like send out like radio signals to help spies during World War II.
hmm
And then they get caught and they get taken to prison. But what's interesting is like they don't get taken to like a concentration camp, which I feel like is pretty much just like most of the stories that you ever really hear about.
Yeah.
So they just go to like regular prison. But it's also interesting because she's pregnant, and so they take her to like the the maternity prison ward, I
Well,
guess.
only after she gives birth. Like at first, she was in like a prison, and
Yeah, but
then
that was like pretty quick that she
yeah,
gave birth. Anyway, at
yeah,
least in the movie. Um anyway, so then she's like in like a maternity prison ward for a while and is able to raise her baby for a couple months.
yeah. I think it was
Um
also. I think it was also more of like a hospital type thing
yeah, or
where,
something. Well, but there was
because
like guards there though.
yeah, it was still obviously a prison, but I think it was more of like a hospital because there's like doctors
Prison
and
hospital.
nurses,
Yeah.
and like her baby wasn't doing well, so it was kind of like keep the baby alive or let it die. They didn't really care
Yeah.
because it's Germany during World War II in
Exactly.
a prison.
Yeah.
So,
It was just interesting because like they were definitely treated a lot better
oh yeah,
than in a concentration camp.
100%.
Cause yeah, it was just like a regular prison, and they were German citizens,
Yeah,
and it wasn't like high treason. It was just like
low
they
treason.
they were attempting to you know uh, aid spies, but they weren't
Yeah,
doing it very well. Like that was kind
no,
of the interesting
they
thing.
were caught very
It was
fast,
very much just her and her friends trying to do what they could,
and her
and they weren't,
husband.
and her husband, and they weren't good at it,
Yeah,
and so they got caught pretty quickly
yeah,
because they detected the radio signals.
yeah.
But it was still really interesting
hmm
how just because they didn't accomplish that much doesn't mean that their sacrifice wasn't just as powerful, because they really were trying to do what they could.
Yeah,
Um, and they still were treated really, really badly.
yeah.
And anyway,
Well, and I don't
um,
know if it was like I don't. Is it a true story or no?
I don't know. I feel like it's probably like not like a true story, but like inspired by something that happened. That's kind of the vibe it was to me.
Maybe
Is that like,
because there's the voiceover at the end
yeah,
that
there's a
was really cool.
voiceover, and then like the title is like what she would write in her letters. So my guess is they found like letters, and then maybe they came up with a story around
Maybe.
the
Well,
letters, or maybe
that's
it was a true story. I don't know,
that's
but
what the voiceover at the end said. He was like, "Yeah, this is like I read this letter all the time from my mom and stuff, and now I'm like 80 or whatever."
hmm
Which, if it is a true story, that would be really cool, and really, I would even love it even more because it's just like this is what I imagined my parents' lives were before everything went down.
hmm yeah, it was really powerful in that it didn't just cut away when I think most movies would have cut away. Because I mean, I
hmm
guess this is spoiler alert. I'm gonna say what
Spoilers.
happens at the end of the movie. If
If you don't want to be spoiled,
Yeah,
go away.
click away. Anyway, they do all die.
Yeah,
They all get executed at the
except
end.
for the baby,
Yeah, the baby survives.
surprisingly.
Anyway, I think most movies would have cut away at some point, but this movie
It didn't.
goes all the way until she's literally executed, and
Yeah. Well, and it even shows her execution too.
yeah, and although it was really difficult to watch, I did appreciate it because I do think it's really interesting to kind of examine what it's like to, find out that you're on death row and to go through that, and like the way that, she was like fighting to, you know, do what do what she needed to do before she died, and like whatever she needed to like kind of let go and be okay with it, and
Mm-hmm.
to, die with dignity.
Yeah.
I just it's something that I don't know if this is really morbid, but it's something that like I feel like I've put in a lot of thought into anyway,
Mm.
of just like what it would be like to be, in a situation like that,
Mm-hmm.
of knowing you're going to
Die.
die and knowing you're going to be executed.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I found it really interesting, and I think it did do a good job of kind of giving a glimmer of hope even as all the characters are dying.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't overly dark.
No.
It wasn't just like, wallowing in the darkness. It was like, she did what she could. She saved her baby.
Yeah.
She wrote all these letters that, her loved ones would remember her by.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it was really
It was really
um
sweet.
it was really, really, really sad, but like somehow uplifting at the same time.
Yeah. I felt
So
uplifted and I really enjoyed that part.
yeah. Um Even though watching her get ready to be executed was heart wrenching.
Yeah.
Um anyway, yeah, it was I think my only criticism was I thought it maybe was a bit slow.
Mm.
Um, I mean, it is a lot of like she's in prison, and then we cut back to, kind of the beginning
Their
of
love
her
life.
relationship with her husband, and then like
Mm.
more of her being in prison, and then cut back to the first time that they met, and then cut back to like the first time that she met like that friend group,
Yeah.
the first time they decided to do the radio thing. Like you get a lot of cutbacks, and for me it did get pretty slow probably in the middle.
Sure.
um but I don't know, I think it's one of those movies where if you have the time and you have the patience, it's really worth it.
Yeah.
It's just that some people might get bored with it.
That's fair. I
But
thought it
yeah,
was,
I would
it's very,
recommend being patient with it because I
yeah.
think it's worth it.
It definitely is worth it.
um but yeah,
It's a very good movie.
and
So,
yeah, really interesting story to tell.
yeah, very good overall. But yeah,
Anyway,
anyways, goodbye.
goodbye.